for years of unconditional love. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Del Taco's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito and Bean Rice and Cheese Burrito, packed with flavor, made with fresh ingredients, and found on Del's Real Deals menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco, hooking us up.
Is this the tackle?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There was a time Los Angeles did not have an NFL franchise. Now the city has two teams in the NFL playoffs. For 22 years, between 1994 and 2016, the NFL went about its business without a team in LA. The Raiders moved back to Oakland, and the Rams went to St. Louis. The Rams came back to LA in 2016. The Chargers left San Diego for LA in 2017. Since the Rams and Chargers have been in LA, the city has had two NFL teams in the same playoffs twice. The Rams and Chargers made the playoffs in 2018 and this year. New York and LA, the only cities with two NFL franchises, have never had their teams face each other in a Super Bowl. Even if the Rams and Chargers don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, the NFL is fully aware that the LA market is still strong. LA will never go 22 years again without an NFL team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, does the name Dean Phillips ring a bell? Dean Phillips. The former 3-term congressman from Minnesota actually mounted a primary campaign against Joe Biden long before Biden stood down and handed the baton to Kamala Harris. Remember that? So it turns out, as we all know now, that Dean Phillips was right about Joe Biden. that he didn't have the capacity, let's put it that way, to stand for re-election. But Dean Phillips finds it awfully unsatisfying. Those are his words, awfully unsatisfying, and remains deeply disappointed with his fellow Democrats. Dean Phillips joins us live in studio today in Hour 2. I look forward to the conversation with the one Democrat who did, in fact, try to primary Joe Biden long before, again, Biden stood down and made way for Kamala Harris. In our third hour, 2 conversations. Up first, former MSNBC host Chris Matthews on what it was like being a White House insider and speechwriter for President Jimmy Carter, whose state funeral, as you well know, is set for tomorrow in Washington. On the B side of Hour 3, former Carter administration official William Bill Allison on working with the man from Plains, Georgia. We'll get his thoughts on the ongoing debate over Jimmy Carter's true legacy, decency or weakness. I've read so many people opining in so many ways about his legacy, decency or weakness. We'll talk about that on the B side of Hour 3. So a full tribute to Jimmy Carter, not just tomorrow on the day of the state funeral, but indeed today in our third hour. In this first hour, though, we'll talk politics and culture with writer and producer Eli Addie, who is back to share his political hopes for 2025 and preview his highly anticipated Robert De Niro series called 0 Day. We'll do that in just a few moments. Let me commence today's program, though, by saying thank you to all the persons in this country and indeed around the world who have checked in with me, checked in with our station here in L.A., checked in with my colleagues here in L.A. to ask us if we are okay, given all the raging fires that are worsening even at this hour. I hate to say that, but that's the fact, worsening even at this hour. In a moment, I'm going to play for you the latest update from the L.A. County Fire Chief, Anthony C. Marone. But we are okay. But it means a great deal. Every one of us wants to be loved, appreciated, supported, acknowledged, affirmed. And in moments like these, when your family and friends and listeners and well-wishers around the country check in to see if you're okay, it actually means something. So I don't have the time or the space to send personal thank yous to everybody who's reached out to this station here in Leimert Park in Los Angeles to ask us if we're okay. We are. Checked in with my team. Everybody seems to be okay. We certainly all have family and friends who live and work in these areas. We shop. We do business in these areas that you see engulfed in flames right about now here in Southern California. But our team, thank God for Jesus, everybody seems to be okay at this moment. I want to play for you now just a couple of minutes of the most recent report. This is about 30, 40 minutes ago here in Southern California. The L.A. County Fire Chief, Anthony C. Marone, had the following to say. And then after we hear from Chief Marone, I want to share with you something that's very, very, very disturbing. You'll all recall that Rick Caruso, the billionaire, white male billionaire, who ran against Karen Bass for mayor, who she soundly, roundly defeated, has been in his feelings since he lost this race. And last night, in the midst of these raging fires, while people are losing their lives and their livelihoods, Rick Caruso called into a local TV station, and he went in on Karen Bass. Now, I want you to hear it for yourself, and after you hear it, I'm going to dissect it for you and with you. But this is the worst kind of politics. While people are fighting for their lives, fighting to hold on to their properties, a defeated and yet would-be mayor of the city calls into a local TV station and just lights in to the mayor. Again, you need to hear it first for me to really unpack it for you. So when we come forward, I'm going to start with this sound on tape from Anthony C. Marone, the L.A. County Fire Chief. I'll let you hear what he has to say about what the condition of the fires is, multiple fires, at least 4. He will share with you the condition of the fires here in Southern California. The whole nation is watching this, of course. He'll give you that detail. And then after that, I'm going to play this Rick Caruso piece. You do not want to move. You want to hear what Caruso had to say and what I have to say about Caruso. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own.
With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shampoo, Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here they come, y'all, here they come. Here they come, y'all, here they come.
Get out the way. Ooh.
First things first with Dominique DePrima at 6 a.m. Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon. Here they come, y'all, here they come. Here they come, y'all, here they come.
Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. The D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show at 2 p.m. A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Quarterly Quartet at 4 p.m. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way.
Tune in weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the talk of the town. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
More honesty than you can handle.
More empowerment than you can imagine.
You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Okay, before we get to our first guest on the backside of this hour, let's spend some time talking about what's happening here in Southern California, that the nation and the world are tuning into. These are difficult and dark days here in Southern California, and these fires are worsening. They are not contained at all. They literally have 4 fires. We have 4 fires raging, and there is zero containment of any of these 4 fires. But don't take it from me. Listen to the LA County Fire Chief Anthony C. Marone in his own words. When we come forward, we'll unpack that, and then I will play for you what Rick Caruso had to say last night to a local TV station. Here is Anthony C. Marone, the LA County Fire Chief, just moments ago.
I'm going to be giving an update on the Palisades fire in addition to the Eaton fire, although I am aware that we have 4 large fires burning in LA County at this time. The Palisades fire is located in both LA City and LA County. We are in unified command with the City of Los Angeles Fire Department in addition to CAL FIRE. We have well over 5,000 acres that have burned, and the fire is growing. We have no percentage of containment. We have an estimated 1,000 structures destroyed, and also no reported fatalities, and a high number of significant injuries to residents who did not evacuate, in addition to first responders who are on the fire line. We have over 1,000 personnel assigned, and the cause of the fire is unknown. However, it is under investigation. For the Eaton fire, It is located in both the Angeles National Forest, the Altadena area of LA County, and Pasadena. LA County is in unified command with both the Angeles National Forest and the Pasadena Fire Department. We have over 2,000 acres burning at this time, and the fire continues to grow with 0% containment. We have over 500 personnel assigned, and unfortunately, we have 2 reported fatalities to civilians. Unknown cause at this time, and we do have a number of significant injuries. We have over 100 structures destroyed, and the cause of the fire is unknown and under investigation.
Not the best news, but it is the case, as the chief said, Chief Marone, that there are 4 separate fires burning, 0 containment of any of those 4 fires, and more to the point, they are worsening at this hour. This program is syndicated across the country. We heard in different cities at different times. This is obviously one of those developing stories, so I suspect this data, I pray, in fact, this data will change as the day moves on, and that they will get some containment on one or more of these fires, if not all. But it doesn't look good at this particular hour. There's going to be massive, multiple billions of dollars of damage here in Southern California when this is all said and done. That was Anthony C. Marone, the LA County Fire Chief. Now, let me just set this up right quick before I play this next clip. So we'll all recall that Karen Bass was a member of Congress for many years from Los Angeles, a black woman, as you all know. Ran for mayor and was in a serious contestation with a white male billionaire named Rick Caruso, who for years was himself a Republican, and then he got slick and tried to change his party registration just in time to run for mayor. But we know a wolf in sheep's clothing even when we see it. That's number one. Number two, he spent a ton of money, $100 million plus, and lost to this sister named Karen Bass. He's still licking his wounds. There have been any number of occasions since he lost where he's popped his head up and tried to diss Karen Bass. But this one takes the cake. When you hear in just a moment what he had to say last night, the fires are burning. People are dying. Property is being destroyed. And in the midst of all of this, this is Rick Caruso calling into a local TV station, number one. Number two, after he does that, almost as if coordinated, Elon pushes out a tweet. Co-president-elect Elon Musk, that's what I called him, co-president-elect Elon Musk, pushes out a tweet endorsing what Caruso had to say last night. I'll read that tweet for you as well in just a second. But let me just stand down for a moment and let you hear for yourself what Rick Caruso had to say to a local TV station last night while the fires were raging.
My heart goes out, obviously, to the people with their homes, and I'm watching the small businesses around us go up in flames. This is people's livelihoods, so it's devastating. But what is most concerning to me is our first responders and our firefighters who are trying to battle this. There's no water in the Palisades. There's no water coming out of the fire hydrants. This is an absolute mismanagement by the city. It's not the firefighters' fault, but it's by the city. And I'm going to be very honest. We've got a mayor that's out of the country, and we've got a city that's burning, and there's no resources to put out fires. So if you look at your pictures, you don't see the firefighters there because there's nothing they can do. And it looks like we're in a third world country here. Mm-hmm. And we've got a lot of tough questions that we need to ask the mayor and the city council and our representatives and the county representatives. Why didn't you work to mitigate this? What was your brush mitigation program? I heard you earlier talking about it's been dry because there hasn't been rain. That's not the biggest problem here. The brush up in these hills that are controlled by the city and the county, I would bet you that if they haven't been handled, mitigated, pruned, removed for probably 30 or 40 years. This was a disaster waiting to happen. And what's predictable is preventable. And who's paying the price are all of these people in their homes and their businesses tonight. Now, we'll rebuild, but the majority of this community is going to have a tough time rebuilding their lives.
What is predictable is preventable, says Rick Caruso. What is predictable is preventable. Nice quote, but slogans are not solutions, Mr. Caruso. Slogans are not solutions. Let me connect these two clips as best I can that we just all heard together. You heard the fire chief, the LA County Fire Chief, Anthony C. Marone, moments ago say that the cause of these fires is unknown. 4 fires, and we don't know nothing about how any of these fires got started. The cause is unknown. You heard the fire chief say a moment ago that there were persons who did not evacuate in time. This isn't Tavis. This is the fire chief saying that there were too many fellow citizens who did not evacuate when they were told to evacuate. Indeed, I was flipping channels last night, watching television, watching reporters talk to residents who were saying live on television with their mask on they weren't leaving. They were staying to protect their property. They're going to ride it out. We see this nonsense all the time. In hurricanes and tornadoes, people refuse to leave. You heard the chief say there are folk who did not want to evacuate. What the chief did not say, nor was it his place to say it, but I'm going to say it. He didn't talk about climate change. He didn't talk about global warming. This station just spent an entire year, my local station here in L.A., just spent an entire year. If you're here locally, you hear the spot we're running, updating you on the success of what we did last year. A $2 million campaign to do what? To raise our civic IQ about climate change, to put this issue on the front burner, and to let the city, the county, the state, and the nation know that too often it is folk who look like you and me, black folk, brown folk, who are the disproportionate victims of these climate catastrophes, these climate maladies, and we are too long now suffering in silence. But we are the disproportionate victims of these climate maladies. But now that the script has flipped, and there are other persons, other fellow citizens in other parts of the city and the county who are now subject to whatever they are wrestling with even at this hour. You get Rick Caruso calling into a TV station, mad about having lost, clearly wants to run again, playing politics at the worst time. It is sick. It is shameful. The police chief also did not say, beyond the fact that they didn't evacuate, many of them when they were told to, we keep encroaching on nature. We keep moving and building into their nature, the animals, into their neck of the woods. And then when these fires break out and burn up everything, we want to blame somebody. It is the American way to find somebody to blame. Not that we're not taking the issues of climate seriously, not that we're encroaching on nature, not that we didn't evacuate when we were told to, but we got to find somebody to blame. So Caruso goes in on this TV station on Karen Bass. And then co-president-elect Elon Musk tweets this. Let me just read you his tweet. Quote, Obama made sure that Rick Caruso, who was extremely competent, lost to utterly incompetent Mayor Karen. Then he says, in parentheses, her real name. Mayor Karen, her real name. The quote once again, Obama made sure that Rick Caruso, who was extremely competent, lost to utterly incompetent Mayor Karen, her real name. I got one question for starters. What does Barack Obama have to do with this? Are we serious? In the midst of folk losing their property and their lives, we talking about Barack Obama? What does Barack Hussein Obama have to do with the fires in Southern California? But this is the tweet on X that Elon Musk puts out. You see the ugly politics that are being played with here while these fires are still not being contained? We always want somebody to blame. I was thinking last night and again this morning of 3 or 4 people, well-known politicians, I could call their names right now, who lost their positions because they didn't get the snow removed fast enough. Y'all know what I'm talking about on the East Coast? Listen to me right now. Y'all have voted folk out of office because they didn't remove the snow fast enough. But Rick Caruso wants to act as if somehow Karen Bass just knew these fires were about to break out. She's sitting on the runway. She's on the tarmac. She sees the fires begin and then instructs the pilot to take off. Get out of here. So now we want to act like Karen Bass knew this was going to happen. We want to blame her for being mayor and being on an international trip. And you notice how he said she's out of the country? And then in his tweets and in other tweets, they've added Ghana. Oh, hello. Y'all missed that? So last night she's out of the country, but today she's in Africa. The black mayor is in Ghana. As if she were here, she had some control over the wind and the rain and the water. But she ain't just out of the country. That was last night. Today, she's in Ghana. You heard the anchor on that tape while Caruso was talking, sort of, You heard that amening, as we said in the black church, amening what Caruso had to say. Look out for the politics. Look out for the media complicity. You heard Rick Caruso say, I would bet you that the brush hasn't been tended to in 30, 40, 50 years. This is a problem waiting to happen. I would bet you. What kind of leader stands up and talks without the facts? Now you want to bet me that you think you know what caused this? You ain't got no facts. Shut up. Sit down. Take a few seats. It's the worst kind of politics. Real leaders wait for the facts. They don't start finger pointing in the midst of a crisis while folks are losing their lives and their livelihoods. I repeat, it is shameful and it is sick. I've been asking y'all for a few weeks now, since November 5th, what does the resistance look like? This is it. The resistance in part must look like stopping the scapegoating. Stopping the scapegoating. Especially while folk like Musk and Trump, the co-presidents-elect, continue to deny the science. As I said earlier, we, people of color, are usually the victims of these maladies. But oh, when the story changes, pardon the pun, when the wind blows in a different direction, and I am not, let me be abundantly clear, my heart goes out to every single person. I don't care their race, their color, their creed, their religion, their racial orientation. None of that matters to me. My heart, I live here in Southern California, have for 30 plus years of my life. I've lived here longer than any place in the world. This is my home. We are in this together. Never mind Rick Caruso, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump trying to divide us. We are in this together. My heart goes out to everybody who's wrestling with the loss of property, the loss of life, the loss of a loved one, the loss of their business. I feel for every single one of them. There, but for the grace of God, go we here at my station here in Southern California. But this is the worst kind of politics, the worst kind. It's only going to get worse. People are going to want somebody to blame. And just as these fires are being whipped up right now, Rick Caruso is going to whip up people in this city. And Karen Bass is about to become their target. The first woman to be mayor, the first African-American woman to be mayor. If you think what they did to Kamala Harris was bad, this is going to be Kamala Harris 2.0 when they go after Karen Bass. This is what the resistance has to look like. We cannot allow people to play politics with people's lives. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Sherry, what have you done to your hair?
What do you mean? Does it not look good?
It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret.
No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic.
Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked so thick. It is gorgeous.
I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going?
I'm gonna pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. 2 male stowaways were found dead in the landing gear of a JetBlue plane from JFK to Fort Lauderdale. The plane had stopped in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Jamaica. Authorities haven't released details or identities. President-elect Trump hasn't ruled out using military or economic force to gain control of Greenland or the Panama Canal. He threatened tariffs on Denmark if they don't cooperate with his Greenland bid. William Pope, a felony defendant from the January 6th Capitol attack, is allowed to attend Trump's inauguration despite a travel ban. A judge permitted his visit from January 19th to the 21st against DOJ objections, citing community danger. And CVS Pharmacy is rolling out new innovative technology that gives trustworthy customers the power to unlock inventory themselves. They can simply use the CVS mobile app on their phone to unlock an item. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Del Taco's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito and Bean Rice and Cheese Burrito, packed with flavor, made with fresh ingredients, and found on Del's Real Deals menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco, hooking us up.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There was a time Los Angeles did not have an NFL franchise. Now the city has 2 teams in the NFL playoffs. For 22 years, between 1994 and 2016, the NFL went about its business without a team in LA. The Raiders moved back to Oakland, and the Rams went to St. Louis. The Rams came back to LA in 2016. The Chargers left San Diego for LA in 2017. Since the Rams and Chargers have been in LA, the city has had 2 NFL teams in the same playoffs twice. The Rams and Chargers made the playoffs in 2018 and this year. New York and LA, the only cities with 2 NFL franchises, have never had their teams face each other in a Super Bowl. Even if the Rams and Chargers don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, the NFL is fully aware that the LA market is still strong. LA will never go 22 years again without an NFL team. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish. Minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA mission this winter season.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
The LA mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley with a sincere thank you to our guest, Eli Addie, for his patience. These fires are the story of the moment, certainly here in Southern California and for that matter around the country, and we needed to spend some time unpacking what's happening here and the politics sadly being played around these fires. So I thank Eli for standing by to allow me to share with you on that particular issue. And now I'm pleased to bring him on the line to talk for a few minutes about politics and culture. He is writer and producer Eli Addie, who is back to share his political hopes for 2025 and preview his highly anticipated Robert De Niro series 0 Day. Eli, good to have you on. How are you, sir?
It's a pleasure to be here, Tavis, once again. And I will tell you that I'm about 2.5 miles from the evacuation zone in Santa Monica. And I'm very fortunate that, my own house is not in the evacuation zone, but, there's smoke and, dark clouds overhead, and maybe it's metaphorical of what we're facing as a society right now. It's a grim time, I think.
Yeah, take that metaphor a bit further. I love it. You're onto something there. So since you're bold enough to go there, unpack it for me.
Look, we can talk a lot, and maybe we will talk a little bit about maybe where the Democrats need to go from here, and maybe what we got wrong in this last election cycle, and maybe in a few election cycles. Mm-hmm. But I think since we spoke last, in the November election, fear and anger kind of won out over hope and our sort of more audacious dreams. Mm-hmm. And I think the world feels to a lot of people like a grim place. And, it's something that people like me, who I consider myself kind of center-left, a longtime Democrat, mm-hmm. Maybe haven't spoken to as much or as successfully as we thought we were doing. And, the world is sort of lurching to the right. And, I think between the climate and, kind of wars in every region of the world, it's just a fierce time. And people are turning to fierce leaders.
Yeah. What if there is nothing? Just work with me for a second here. I'm not sure I believe this, but I want to just probe it anyway with you. What if, Eli, there is nothing that Democrats could have done? What if it wasn't about Kamala Harris running a great campaign? What if it wasn't about raising $1.5 billion? What if it wasn't about any of that? What if the reality is that we live in a nation now where a significant number of fellow citizens have decided that this is what they want, that they want incompetence, that they want what they voted for. I mean, they got what they wanted for. I was talking about Leonard Pitts Jr., piece he wrote, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, wrote a piece the other day The piece was "Got to Give the People What They Want." It's a great song from the OJs, but it's more than just a song title. Got to give the folk what they want.
Yeah.
This is what they wanted. What if this is what? Thank God, not a plurality, but what if this is what a majority of fellow citizens want?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there, Tavis. And look, I think Kamala Harris ran an excellent campaign, and I think she was a phenomenal candidate in many ways. And I think that she fell into some of the kind of caricatures of the left, wanting to hand out, tampons in every boy's bathroom in America, that are inaccurate and the kinds of things we've been hit with for decades. And we just weren't ready. And maybe there was a sort of an overlay of some things that we have done and said that was unhelpful in terms of earning the trust of people who are maybe a little more culturally moderate and, all that. But I think you're right. Look, I don't think anybody wants incompetence, but I do. We talked a lot 8 years ago about the so-called chaos voters, people who liked Donald Trump because they believed he was just going to go and blow things up. And they were so angry at the system. And, these voters and these Americans felt that for so long the system, Washington politicians, institutions, big corporations had ignored them, that they weren't looking for reform anymore. They were just looking for destruction. Yeah. They were just looking for somebody to go. And it's a little bit like there are people who love Trump or just simply pull the lever for Trump because he drives the people they hate crazy.
Yeah.
And they like that. And I would say that group of people has grown a lot. In this election cycle, we saw a lot of people come around to Trump because they just see him as a kind of a bomb thrower. And so it's not about competence or incompetence. I think your framework is a great one and a smart one, but it's sort of it's not about incompetence, but what did competence get us? In other words,
no, I take it. No, I like that.
Funny thing to be talking about also in the shadow of President Carter's death, because talk about somebody who tried to simply be competent, and competence has its limits as a political strategy.
No, we're going to talk about Jimmy Carter and do a tribute to him with 2 great guests, including Chris Matthews, who was his speechwriter in the White House.
Amazing, of course.
Yeah, we'll do that in the 3rd hour today, and a little bit later in this hour, a little bit later in this conversation. In fact, we'll talk about Eli's upcoming Netflix limited series 0 Day, starring Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett, premieres on Netflix February the 20th. I promise we'll get to that in just a few minutes here. But I didn't get a chance to watch the Golden Globes. You may have been there for all I know. I didn't get a chance to watch the entire show this year, but I caught the opening with Nikki Glaser hosting. And you recall that moment where she makes this joke about Hollywood, and her point, and I'm not a comedian, so I can't do the joke right. But her point was that Hollywood has lost all of its power, right? All of its authority, because all these Hollywood actors and musicians and artists were on the campaign hustings trying to help Kamala Harris. It did not help, and so she sort of chided the audience at the Golden Globes. Y'all ain't got it no more. Nobody listens to Hollywood anymore. That's a joke. What's your sense of all these persons who did get out there? It didn't make a difference.
Yeah, Tavis, I never thought Hollywood had it to have lost it.
Wow.
Back many years ago now. I mean, I love Hollywood. I worked in Hollywood. I'm not critical of Hollywood as storytelling and entertainment. And, and I say this about myself too, the people who should, quite frankly, leave the room when the grown-ups sit down to have dinner. I mean, it's we put on a show. I don't think anybody in Hollywood should take themselves too seriously. But back when I worked in the Clinton-Gore White House for both President Clinton and Vice President Gore, Hollywood people were circling that White House and always offering to go out on the campaign trail for Gore and for Clinton and to do all kinds of things. And it's helpful and exciting the people who love you already, right? If you get Beyonce, if you get Taylor Swift, if you get George Clooney, if you get whoever it is to come out and speak at a rally or give an endorsement or give a speech, it's gonna have an excitement factor. But we always felt that would turn off some voters, because even people who liked the last George Clooney movie are going to sort of say, well, who is this guy to talk about my Social Security or my Medicare? It's always been a double-edged sword. It helps with excitement. It helps with turnout. It helps to fill an arena for a rally. But I think you always have to be very careful about trying to make anybody think that Robert De Niro or Taylor Swift or any of these kind of glittery stars really can speak to their lives or understand their lives. It may be a little bit of the cultural problem that we sometimes, fall into on the left. But, I think that, what we do need to do is what, through any means possible, is Democrats, the left in this country, just need a way to speak more directly and more of the time to kind of lunch pail concerns.
Yeah.
What's on the minds of the working class, the middle class, relentlessly speak to that and not get distracted as much by side issues and on other issues that are important, but not as important when you're having trouble putting food on the table, when you feel you can't raise your kids, when you feel that we're in a society of chaotic values and you don't know how to be a parent,
Nope.
First things first.
Nope, I take your point. Eli Addie is a writer and producer, award-winning writer and producer. His new Netflix series is called 0 Day. It stars Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. We'll play a clip for you, the trailer, in fact, from the limited series, which commences on February the 20th, and get Eli Addie to share more with us about the series. You're listening, and I'm glad about it, to Eli Addie right now on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking.
That's what we do around here.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited!
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Corte back-to-back?
Oh, my God!
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DePrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park,
Los Angeles, California.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and writer-producer Eli Addie. His new limited series is called 0 Day. Comes to Netflix on February the 20th. Stars Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. Here now the trailer for Netflix's 0 Day.
3,402 people died on 0 Day. Plane crashes, train derailments, total chaos.
Whoever's responsible for this attack, they're dangerous and they say they're going to do it again.
Congress is authorizing a special investigatory commission and endowing it with powers of surveillance, search and seizure.
You're just going to grab people off the streets without warrants.
Actually, you are. People will believe what they need to believe. The truth is the truth. But it's not always the most important thing.
It's a great cast, and you can't do much better, Eli Addie, as you well know, than Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. Tell me about Zero Day.
You definitely can't. So you know, I first of all, I would not go so far as to say it's my limited series. I'm a writer on it. I wrote an episode of it. I'm one of the producers of it, but it went into production right after the writer's strike began. So since the writer's room ended and I wrote an episode of the show, I really have had very little to do with it, though I'm friends with a number of the people involved. Mm-hmm. But you know, and I think it's going to be incredible. It premieres in, I believe, something like February 20th or February 25th. I should know this on Netflix. 20th. It's there you go. Thank you, Tavis. I should know this better than you. But it's a thriller. It's a kind of a dystopian thriller. It's about the sort of thing we go through all the time, which is a crisis that leads to a lot of exploitation and misinformation. And, you know, it's sort of about what happens when our better angels, you know, battle the darker, you know, demons, you know, kind of in us and in our society. And you know, I think it's going to be really good.
Yep. When we come forward, our remaining moments with Eli Addie, I want to talk about those darker demons and just bring this conversation full circle. We're facing the demons of these fires right about now, but that hasn't stopped people from playing demonic politics at this moment. And so we'll close this conversation talking about these dark demons that we're wrestling with in this country right now and what his hopes are politically for 2025. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like
Progressive presents Renters MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super-rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
I'm Tavis Smiley. He is Eli Addie, writer and producer. New series he's a part of called 0 Day. Premieres on Netflix on February the 20th, starring Robert De Niro and Angela Bassett. As I said earlier, you can't do much better than those two. Should be an amazing series, again, premiering on Netflix on February the 20th. I've got 3 minutes left, Eli. I will yield all 3 minutes to you, sir. But you used a phrase a moment ago that resonated with me, these dark demons. And if we had the time, we could really unpack all the demons that we are wrestling with as a society right now. But I close with this as the exit question. What are your hopes for 2025, never mind the frame that we are in?
Look, it's hard to, argue with the numbers of the Donald Trump victory in the sense that, he clearly got more votes. He clearly won the Electoral College. He clearly won the popular vote. And, yes, I think a lot of it was the kind of throw the bums out phenomenon that we've seen all over the world. And a lot of it was the sort of rightward lurch that we're seeing all over the world. Dissatisfaction over decades-old policies, trade policies, immigration policies in some cases. And what I think is going to be a real challenge is when he starts, or at least tries to put into action, what I would describe as a somewhat cold-hearted agenda toward the world, trying to seize Greenland and the Panama Canal, for starters, and, kind of shutting our doors and antagonizing our allies and adversaries alike. The question is, do we want a future kind of like the last 4 years for all its challenges, where at least our government is trying to be open-hearted, is trying to lead, is trying to bring countries together and bring people together, in this country of every, race and, religion and, ethnic creed and sexual orientation. What do we want our future to be? My hope for 2025 is frankly that that voters and people in this country see this more mean-spirited sort of politics in action and choose to reject that too. Yeah. And I think they will. I think that the Trump people are going to have a bad midterm. And, we already know he's not going to be president again after this, though he'll try.
Yeah, that part.
And I think he's going to be, he's going to be a lame duck with a bare majority that's already shown itself to be kind of dysfunctional, trying to enact a sort of a mean-spirited, insular, backward-looking agenda. And I think it will fail. And I think that our better angels are going to prevail. And that's what I hope for 2025 is to see the seeds of that.
Got 45 seconds left. Let me ask you this. Given that you are a writer and producer here in Hollywood, could you have written a script that mirrors the true story of Donald Trump and sold that in Hollywood?
Not even close. And people have written some pretty extreme things in this town. And I'll tell you, I was working on a television show, a legal show, for a couple of years, working on the Paramount lot. This is about, 7 years ago. And I was in the same building downstairs from all the Veep writers, trying to do a really extreme, heightened political satire. And, in the Trump years. and they were ripping their hair out every day because they would read the news and say, this is 50 times more absurd than the script we just wrote. And it wasn't a joke. I mean, I would go up there. Those guys are friends of mine. I'd go up there and hang out with those guys, and they would basically say, look at the newspaper.
Yeah.
This is better than what we just wrote. It's funnier and sillier and more bizarre,
you couldn't,
you know? And yeah.
You couldn't make this stuff up. And to Eli's point, we're laughing, but it's serious. You couldn't have written a script that mirrors the true story of Donald Trump and his being back in the White House and sold this. They would have laughed you out the pitch room. They would have laughed you out. And yet,
that's for sure.
And yet here comes Trump 2.0. Eli, congrats on this your role in this series, 0 Day, premiering on Netflix February the 20th. Good to have you back, and have a great year. Have a great year, my friend.
Tavis, it's always a pleasure. You have a great year. I hope we'll talk soon.
Likewise. Thank you, sir. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward, including a conversation next hour with the man, the Democrat who actually primaried Joe Biden. What's his take now on how everything turned out? We'll talk to Dean Phillips, former Congressman Dean Phillips out of Minnesota, who's live in studio when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. 2 male stowaways were found dead in the landing gear of a JetBlue plane from JFK to Fort Lauderdale. The plane had stopped in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Jamaica. Authorities haven't released details or identities. President-elect Trump hasn't ruled out using military or economic force to gain control of Greenland or the Panama Canal. He threatened tariffs on Denmark if they don't cooperate with his Greenland bid. William Pope, a felony defendant from the January 6th Capitol attack, is allowed to attend Trump's inauguration.